The night we said no to Karen's HOA demands, everything changed in an instant as she stormed up our driveway, red-faced and panting, her clipboard trembling like a judge's gavel poised over a small-town kangaroo court. She had shown up unannounced, demanding we repaint our fence in HOA-approved taupe or face fines that would drain our bank account. My heart pounded as she planted her feet on the cracked concrete, her bulky frame silhouetted against the harsh security light. She barked about bylaws and community standards, eyes darting to the street where neighborhood gossipers gathered behind their curtains like jury members watching a hanging. The air felt thick with anticipation, as if the entire block was holding its breath to see whether we would buckle under her iron-fisted rules or finally stand our ground. With a calm I didn't know I possessed, I told her she was mistaken. Our property wasn't within her jurisdiction, and we would not comply with any fines or repainting orders. Her jaw dropped so hard I thought I heard it clatter. She sputtered about covenants and easements, but when I gently mentioned our survey documents proving we lived outside the HOA boundary, her face twisted into a mask of fury. She ripped pages from her clipboard and slapped them against our front door, then stormed back to her SUV. As she yanked open the driver's door, I heard a snap. She had torn her own paperwork in her rage. That's when she realized the entire neighborhood was watching, their phones recording every moment. I saw her lips twitch, a flash of panic crossing her eyes before she slammed the door and sped off, tires screeching. Moments later, relief washed over us, but neither of us knew the night had only just begun. 10 minutes after Karen's retreat, headlights flooded our yard. A black SUV idled under the oak tree, engine humming like a coiled snake. My wife stepped forward into the light, her posture straight, her uniform crisp beneath the blazer, the glint of her federal agent badge catching the glare of the headlights. Karen leapt from her vehicle, adrenaline turning her limp legs into rubber. She stammered for an explanation, but the moment her eyes locked on my wife's badge, she froze as if someone had yanked the air from her lungs. Silence fell so heavy that the distant hum of cicadas sounded like thunder. I watched as Karen's confident swagger evaporated, her shoulders slumping as she realized she had crossed the wrong person. My wife approached, badge held high, and spoke in a tone that brooked no argument. "You have no authority here. I suggest you leave now, or you may find yourself facing charges for trespassing." Karen's face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping in air. Without a word, she stumbled back to her SUV and peeled away into the night. In the aftermath, rumors swirled like a cyclone. Some claimed Karen had called the police, but the officers who arrived found nothing to enforce. No outstanding fines, no jurisdiction, no evidence of wrongdoing on our part. They left, shaking their heads at the absurdity of it all. Meanwhile, my wife and I stood on our porch, watching Karen's tail lights fade into the distance. We exchanged a look of disbelief and triumph, as the neighborhood emerged from hiding to offer congratulations and relief. For weeks afterward, we heard whispers of the night Karen met her match, and our story spread like wildfire through local online forums and community groups. But Karen wouldn't stay down for long. A week later, she resurfaced at the county clerk's office, attempting to file a fraudulent HOA claim against us. My wife intercepted her with evidence of our survey, county records, and a federal injunction against harassment. When Karen realized she was being recorded by the clerk's dash cam and surrounded by county officials who were unimpressed by her self-appointed title, her arrogance crumbled. She tried to push her case, but the mediator's deadpan refusal turned her fiery rant into a whimper. Eventually, she was escorted from the building. Unexpectedly, a new figure entered the scene, our neighbor Mrs. Delgado, whose quiet demeanor and gentle smile masked a fierce loyalty to justice. She had watched Karen's antics for months from her front porch, notebook in hand, documenting each trespass and tantrum. Mrs. Delgado delivered her meticulous records to our door one afternoon, handwritten logs, video links, even audio clips of Karen's threats. It was the twist we needed. Armed with this irrefutable evidence, we prepared for the real confrontation. The evening of the showdown arrived. Karen barreled down our street in her Jeep, determination etched on her face. Word had spread that she planned to seize our garden gate under threat of citation. Instead, she found an assembled crowd. Neighbors armed with water balloons and plates of homemade cookies, Mrs. Delgado standing at my side with her folders, and my wife leaning against the fence, badge gleaming. As Karen pranced toward us, expecting to intimidate, Mrs. Delgado stepped forward and calmly read aloud entries from her logbook. April 12th, trespass at 3:14 p.m. recorded. June 2nd, verbal threats recorded. Each notation was met with nods from the crowd. The air crackled with suspense as Karen's bravado faltered. She flapped her clipboard like a wounded bird, sputtering that she had every right to enforce her bylaws. My wife interjected, under federal anti-harassment statutes, your repeated actions constitute intimidation. Cease and desist immediately. I watched Karen's face contort, first disbelief, then dawning horror. Her knees buckled and she dropped to a trembling crouch. The assembled neighbors pressed their phones closer, filming every moment of her unraveling. Silence fell. Karen looked around at the expectant faces, her empire of control crumbling. She tried to speak, but a sob escaped instead. With shaking hands, she offered a half-hearted apology, her voice cracking. Mrs. Delgado held out a hand and guided her to stand. The crowd parted as Karen rose, tears glistening. In that moment, the tyrant was exposed not by force, but by the quiet power of collective witness. Karen's collapse was swift. She fled the street in tears, her Jeep's tires kicking up dust as neighbors called after her with stinging remarks and offers of community counseling. Word spread that night of her breakdown, and the local HOA board issued a statement distancing themselves from her rogue behavior. Emails circulated announcing her removal from any HOA committees. The public humiliation was complete. In the months that followed, something unexpected happened. Karen disappeared from our block. She sold her house and moved away, leaving behind an empty lot where neighbors planted flowers in her memory. Meanwhile, Mrs. Delgado organized a neighborhood council to revise our outdated bylaws and ensure fair, transparent processes. My wife and I were asked to speak at a county seminar on residents' rights, where we stressed the importance of standing together. The final chapter of our saga unfolded on a sunny afternoon at the block's inaugural Community Day festival. Children played, laughter filled the air, and a wooden sign bearing Mrs. Delgado's neat handwriting stood at the entrance. Shared streets, shared respect. I raised a glass in a toast, to justice, to unity, and to the power of ordinary people who refuse to be intimidated. My wife stood beside me, badge tucked away, her smile radiant. The memory of Karen's reign felt like a distant nightmare, replaced by a new era of collaboration. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Karen's downfall was a necessary reckoning against entitlement? Or could empathy and dialogue have prevented such a harsh collapse? Share your thoughts. Was our stand justified? Or did we let a community feud spiral out of control? Let us know if you think power needs limits or if a little Karen drama is part of neighborhood life.